Hey everybody, today we are going to talk about how to plan a story. How do you plan a story? Well, it's different for everyone, but what we're going to do today is start out with some tools that you can use, and it should make it a lot easier for you this year. Okay, so first of all, before you plan a story, you have to know what you're going to write about. Today, what I'm going to write about is a time that, it says write about a time that you showed responsibility, and since I'm the author, I'm going to think of times that I showed responsibility. Got to keep that in mind all the time. Okay, so step one, here we go. Write about a time you showed responsibility. And what do we see here? It's a circle map. And we are going to brainstorm in that circle map, right? So right now there are no right or wrong answers. I'm just going to come up with some things that come off the top of my head about times that I showed responsibility. Oh, let's see. Once I took care of my neighbor's dog. That was, I bet a lot of you have done that. Let's see. I'm not going to put in a whole lot of detail because we don't want to take all day to do this. Took care of a dog. Oh, I used to babysit a lot. Had to show a lot of responsibility there. Oh, when I got my first car, I had to show responsibility. Otherwise, probably wouldn't have gotten to drive anywhere very far. When I got my first phone, and for some of you, that's about this age. I was a lot older when I got my first phone. I'm just going to stop there because I could go on and on. Now, step one is done, so I want you to pause just for a second. I'm going to pause, and you are going to copy down exactly what I just did. Not your ideas, but my ideas in your writing journal. Okay, so I've brainstormed all these ideas, and now I have to decide which topic I think that I can elaborate on the most and the one that might be the most interesting and that I could write about. So I think I'm going to pick the time I babysat someone that I know. That's going to be what I go with, okay? So when you're writing your paper, you can do your thing, but that's the one I'm going to go with. So, step two, here we go. I am going to come up with a sentence, okay? And it's going to be really basic right now. Nobody says you have to write the perfect novel from the beginning. So, I'm going to say something really generic. A time that I showed Okay, sorry, it's hard to type and talk all at the same time. So I'm going to go with this. Let's see if you can see that now. Ooh, see, I can't even type right. And it's okay if I'm not spelling everything correctly because this is just a rough draft, right? Nothing big. Okay, so a time that I showed responsibility was when I babysat for some friends when they went out of town. That's what I'm going to go with, okay? Now, I'm going to brainstorm some thoughts on that too. So I'm going to pause for a second and type that in so I don't take a lot of time and it'll just boom show up. Okay, so I have my chart filled in, and this looks similar to a multi-flow map, but this is called a one-sided multi-flow map. If you notice, I have a time that I showed responsibility was when I babysat for some friends when they went out of town. So I thought I could elaborate on that by saying that I kept them safe, and by them I'm talking about the kids. I took kids to all their activities. I played with them, I put them to bed on time, and I followed the parents' rules. So those were just some things that popped into my head. Now, I'm not going to be able to talk about all of that in one paper. If I did, it would be a lot of just bullet points, and it wouldn't be very interesting. So I'm going to pick 3 of those, and I'm going to really elaborate on them. So I think I'm going to pick, let's see, I think I'm going to pick follow the parents' rules. I think that's a good one right there. took the kids to all their activities. I think I can elaborate on that one, and kept them safe. I mean, yes, I played with them and I put them to bed on time, but I think those three I'll be able to elaborate the most on. So, what I want you to do is we're going to pause right here, and you are going to copy down exactly what I just wrote in your writing journal. Okay, now that you've got step 2 written down in your journal, we are going to move on to step 3. You guys are doing a great job. This is not difficult, right? I haven't asked you to do anything crazy yet. So I'm going to take all of this information, and now I'm going to put it into step 3. So you see right here, I took a time that I showed responsibility was when I babysat for some friends when they went out of town. If I want to right now, I could elaborate. I could put when they went to Ireland. That's where they went. And it was 3 kids. So maybe I could say a time that I showed responsibility was when I babysat let's see, how can we say that? My friend's 3 children. Whoops. When they went to Ireland. Okay, I think that's good detail for now. So over here, you're going to see that I kept them safe, I took the kids to all their activities, and I followed the parents' rules. So now I have to decide which of these is going to be the one that's going to be the best, I can elaborate on the most. And I think I'm going to save kept them safe for last. I'm going to put took kids to all their activities first and follow the parents' rules, because if you can see, these are going to be my body paragraphs, and I wanted this to be a good reason, a better reason, and then my best reason, and I feel like I can elaborate that way better. So if you want to pause right now, and your teacher will let you copy this down, that is great, but I want you to see something right here. We're going to get it all done for our conclusion. Okay, so now I'm going to elaborate. This part will probably take the longest out of all the steps, because you are going to want to really put a lot of thought into here. So I took the kids to all their activities. I can say Samantha to dance, Colton to baseball, and Remy, those are the kids' names, if you were wondering. Remy to a friend's house. Not a big deal. Those are the things that came to my mind. Follow the parents' rules. Bedtime was 9 o'clock. I made sure everybody did that. We always did homework. I know you guys hate it when a babysitter makes you do that. And I'm kind of stuck on the last one about following the parents' rules. So I think I'm going to go on to kept them safe, and then I think I can come back to that. On kept them safe, no one was hurt. I always make sure I locked the doors every night. I think that's important, right? And they were happy the entire time. So I could go ahead and go on to my conclusion, but remember, I left one blank here, and it's always kind of the rule of 3 when you're writing. So follow the parents' rules. Bedtime was 9 o'clock, always did homework, and no fighting allowed. How many of you have that rule at home? Okay, so now I'm ready for my conclusion. We're almost done. Can you believe this? I've almost written an entire paper. So now I just have to wrap it up. And I want you to remember, what was my prompt? Write about a time that you showed responsibility. So I want my conclusion to refer to responsibility again. So let's make that a little bit smaller, because I'm going to write some more. Oops. Okay. babysitting 3 kids for 10 days really showed that I could be responsible. And I clearly spelled that wrong. Well, it doesn't even show up. That's how bad I spelled. Responsible. Okay, and again, this is not my final, so I can always go back, but at least that gives me a conclusion that matches my prompt. Okay, you guys are going to write this down. You're going to copy this down exactly as it is in your writing journal. Okay, guys, so step 3 is done, and now we are ready to write our paper. Step 4 is simple. I'm going to take this one sentence right here and make an intro paragraph. There's one body paragraph, 2 body paragraph, the 3rd body paragraph, and a conclusion paragraph. So I did that while you were writing that down, and here is step 4. Everything I just did with you has now turned into this paper. Let me read it to you. A time that I showed responsibility was when I babysat my friend's 3 children when they went to Ireland for 10 days. I made sure that the kids got all their planned activities on time. Samantha had ballet 3 days a week at the Ballet Academy. Colton had baseball practice at Wagon Wheel every Wednesday night at 5 o'clock, and Remy had a play date with his friend Hayden on Saturday morning. There were lots of rules that the parents wanted their children to follow while they were out of town, which meant that I had to follow the rules too. As soon as the kids got home from school each day, they had to do all of their homework and read for 30 minutes. After dinner, I made sure that they took baths and were in bed by 9 o'clock. The hardest rule for them to follow, and as I'm reading it back to you, I see a mistake. The hardest rule for them to follow was the no fighting with each other rule. I tried to do lots of fun things that kept them busy so they didn't have time to fight. That was probably the hardest rule of all for them to follow. Most importantly, I kept the kids safe while I was in charge. I made sure that the doors to the house were always locked when we left and before we went to sleep at night. I made sure that they were all playing safely so that nobody got hurt. I didn't even have to use a Band-Aid. Best of all, I made sure that they were happy. Safe and happy kids makes a happy babysitter. There have been other times that I showed responsibility in my life, but I think the time I took care of someone else's children for more than a week while they were out of the country proved that I could take care of anyone. So guys, that's it. It's that simple. We went from just brainstorming right here to step 2, more elaborate brainstorming, narrowing it down, to step 3, plugging it into this, we're going to call it a flea map. It's like a flow map with the tree map underneath. So this is the flea map. And then we move right into writing the story. If you follow these simple steps, you are going to be able to do it too. You can do it. Good luck.